have to change this endpoint because we would not like to hit localhost 3001 because it is no more localhost now. The backend API endpoint is the actual API endpoint. So we have to ensure that. So remember, there is update the API endpoint. So we have to ensure that that has been updated. Maybe I can quickly do one thing. I can hit the backend which is already deployed. This is the URL, right? The HTTPS one, and then I can hit the verify endpoint, which, if you remember, which verifies the person or validates the image, and it's a post endpoint. I think there should be only one local host. Yeah, there is no more local host. Cool. By the way, Command J is a shortcut for in Mac to open the terminal. npm run start. Would you like your app to run? Is the the front end is running here? Okay. I just stopped from another terminal. I want to run. No. Let me restart it. I want it to run it at localhost 3000. Allow this time. Capture. So verification failed. Inspect. Let's see. I got a 500 error. And by the way, the screen is not freezed if you think it is. It's just that I've captured the image, and after that I've not proceed any step. It's at verification error field. I did not get any logs though. Hmm. Why did it fail to load the resources? When I was running locally, when I was running locally, it was fine. Maybe I'll quickly run locally. This is the front end. This is the back end. Now this is also the front end. This is the back end. This is running at 3001. Let me quickly go and check. I need to configure the IAM. I'll quickly do that. I kind of, after every tutorial, I kind of delete my access or the security credentials, the access key, because this is not a recommended approach to do that. Try to stop this. AWS conf. I don't remember the path of AWS. I think it was CD. I'm trying to guess something AWS, something XBL. Yeah, cat configure cat credentials. Yeah, here it is. Nano credentials. I'll quickly edit this. Oops. Okay, it got saved. Now I need to come back. Oops. It has opened the front end. Localhost. Let me write it quickly. It should be the previous one, right? S3 localhost 3001. The backend is running at 3001. npm run start. So the front end is now hitting the backend, the old application way of working. It's going wrong. It says the invalid key ID. Do I need to press done? Yeah. Okay, now the access key is created. My bad. Now it should work. Right, like, okay, let me go back. Close this. Capture and verify. No. Wow. Today seems to be a good start. What's going again? The credentials are invalid. Invalid access key ID. Okay. It again says that the access key ID is invalid. Why so? One second. Okay, let me open here. It will be much more easier. I think it was AWS alias cat credentials. This was the access key, the new access key which I generated. Yeah, so that I can never used. Wow, 1 second, it should just now used it. The secret access key. Is there something, some sort of error I'm trying to do here? Let me redo this process again, guys. Access key part, I'll delete the first I'll deactivate the previous one. I'll delete, okay, I need to just copy the key ID, create access key. I think it was CLI. Did I choose the local code? Your you plan to use the access key to enable the AWS CLI to access on your AWS account. not the CLFI, but the local code, right? Your plan is to use the access key to enable the application code in a local development environment to access your AWS account. Application running on AWS compute services, EC2, Lambda. Okay. This is for the ones which are deployed, right? Like the AWS Lambda. Okay, I understand. Create access key. This is my access key. This is the secret access key. I've saved it. I'll click done. The access key is created. It is active now. The backend I'll try to rerun. Maybe because last time I did not rerun my backend. Could be that. Because I'm not doing hot reload with nodemon. That could be an error. Okay. Um, the front end, let me rerun. Now it is good. Okay, this looks good, right? Like, so I think I didn't rerun the backend part when I have loaded the credentials. Let me. So I think while debugging this, I understood what could be an issue in case if I'm using what was that? If I'm using the front end URL as well, sorry, the backend deployed URL as well in my front end application, because if I got the similar error, verification fail. If you remember, maybe I'll quickly rerun it. The front end is back. You see the verification failed error. Yeah. So the error verify failed. That's because my Express over here is not a. It doesn't have the IAM credentials or the required credentials um, to access. So the backend over here is doesn't have the Lambda over here doesn't have the required access to go to S3 and fetch the images, right? Like that's where it is failing. Um, can I do a quick thing just to validate? Is it like can I just directly do it on the application level itself? Ideally, this is not a good or recommended approach. You see the secret key ID and the secret. Let me quickly open the backend application. Mm, okay, the backend is already open. I wanted to go to the secret key part. Server.js. Yeah, this guy over here. I think it was there in my environment. Yeah, this value over here. I haven't provided that in my environment variable. Even though it is provided, I don't think this is the valid one because I've deleted it, right? So what can I do? Can I just replace this key, this access key, and the secret key ID and the secret access key directly? Ideally, this is not the recommended approach. The recommended approach is in configuration, I should have the environment variables, huh? And from this environment variables, it should pick up um, the values in the lambda, huh? So this is how the recommended approach is. So I need to add the environment variables that are required, and that needs to be picked up rather than what I'm trying to do here, a dirty way of doing it. But I quickly want to test things out right now. So what I can do is, if you remember, I had um, I'll do cat credentials. I'll take this credentials and see if this works. Okay, I saved it. I don't know. Can I just click deploy? It is deploying. It is throttling. So the lambda is redeploying again with this values. Let's see. Okay, the function is deployed. I'll quickly check last 17 seconds ago. Let's see if the access key is the latest one. Indeed, it is, right? Okay, this looks good. Now, what will I do? From my front end application, no, not this one, the front end application. Yeah, so from my front end application, I'll restart it. So my front end application now it is calling, so my local front end application, now it is calling the backend deployed AWS Lambda endpoint, right? Not the localhost 3000. So let me quickly run my front end app. Verification error failed. Let me quickly go to the networks tab and see the invocation calls. Capture. What is this? This one. The AWS access key does not exist, right? Like this is the same error I was facing locally. I got a quick idea. You remember there was one option in IAM while creating the access key. There was something called application running on AWS compute service. Previously, I was choosing the local code to run to create the access key locally. Now let me check this part. Applications running on AWS compute services. You plan to use access key to enable the application code running on AWS compute service like EC2, ECS, or Lambda. So I'm using Lambda to access your AWS account. Yeah, I understand it. Again, not a recommended approach, but I just want to try things out as my POC. Cool. So this is the new key ID. This is my new access key. I'll quickly copy this thing as well in my clipboard. Redeploy it. Okay, this got deployed. Rerun my front end. Same error. The access key ID does not exist in your record. Hmm. Hey, I did shit. I did not do the done part. I should have clicked the done. Only then it gets applied. My God. Not yet. Not yet. The same key ID issue. This access key ID and the key. Let me use the CloudWatch logs to at least understand what's going on. I want the latest log. What kind of time zone it is? UTC. Okay. Hmm. Listing S3 object invalid access key ID. Okay. I think does not exist in our records. The listing S3 object invalid key ID. It does not exist in our record. Okay. Clear. The issue is with the access key itself. I need to ensure my Lambda has the access in order to I need to ensure my Lambda has an access to S3, the deployed Lambda, not the local one. The deployed Lambda has the access to S3. So let me quickly check. I'm just trying to learn. I'm just trying to learn. Let me quickly check with chat. For the deployed Lambda, the access key ID and the secret key in order to access the S3, how should it be handled? Good question. This one is the correct way is using the AWS native and secure. It is telling me about the IAM policy at the S3 access, right? Example IAM policy for S3 access attach the policy to the Lambda execution role. It is telling me that no need of keys or rotations or leaves. Just attach the IAM policy for S3 access. Okay, let me quickly go to the S3. I think it was images. Jesus, images. Permission bucket policy. Yeah, I did not attach the bucket policy. Attach the policy to Lambda Execution Role. Example IAM policy for S3. So it is asking me not this. See, the thing which I was trying to do as a workaround or hack, or not a very recommended way, doing a hard coding the access key, which I was trying to do. As I was trying to tell you guys, that was not a production way of doing it. Neither to store the environment variable. Uh, Here, that's not even a good way. Committing the keys, definitely I'll breach it. Sharing, no. It is telling that in Terraform, AWS Lambda function and app, my Lambda. Okay. Yesterday I remember writing this part in the backend. Hmm, Lambda Terraform. Yeah, I have given the permission. Did I? Did I not? For the S3 part. Resources AWS Lambda function. Express function file name. Here it is. Role IAM role. Lambda execution.arn. File name. Zip that. Source code hash. The permissions. Here is the policy. That's what I was trying to look for. Can I quickly add a permission here? I need to add a permission, not to the AWS account, grant the permission to another AWS account, now the grant permission to another AWS service. So I wanted to provide to my S3 service. Properties, the ARN is here, source ARN. What else does it need? Enter a unique statement ID or different this statement with the policy. Statement ID. It should be somewhere here. Metadata, properties. Why can't I find it? Okay, it's not my source account. Can I just click save? Action, action is there. Get object and put object I need. Get Lambda, no, S3. Because I'm in Lambda. Get function. Let me use get policy. Okay. Enter a unique statement ID to differentiate this statement within the policy. Statement ID for S3. It's the string defined. Why can't I find that? It should be somewhere here. think I'm stuck at access key IDs and the value, the the way at which Lambda tries to communicate with the S3, the deployed Lambda. The deployed Lambda tries to communicate to the deployed S3. That is where I am trying to look into now. Okay, let me add the other way around. Let me add the Lambda. Isn't it not the S3 that needs to have the permission because Lambda is trying to call the S3? So Lambda needs to have the required permissions to call the S3. I was thinking if I can allow the S3 to give the permission to Lambda. That's where I was thinking that I can directly add the policy inside the S3 to provide it to Lambda. Let me give it a try. Get maybe right. I don't know. No, sorry. Get no. I don't want. I don't think this is the right approach. Maybe it is the other way around. Express API. No. Here it is. What are the can't I edit this role document? So it gives the role. This lambda gives the allows the effect for the CloudWatch. Basic execution rule. It also allows, yeah, to this part. Hmm. So it allows, here it is. So I need to add a statement which affects not, so the SID is allow API gateway invoke. I also need to write something like allow S3, um, allow S3 invoke, maybe something like that. Effects allow. Action is what I need to do here with S3 get object and put object, and then I need to provide the resource name. So maybe let me again try to rethink. So statement can be something unique. Allow S3 S3 access S3 read, put, I would say a unique name. Source account, properties, ARN, the ARN value. It only has the lambda. Isn't it? It should also be on S3. Source account is this account. Doesn't match expected constant API gateway. Am I going at the right place? Because there is a API gateway as well. So it is saying for me to go to the API gateway. Okay, let me go to the API gateway part. The endpoint created. Express HTTP. Proxy any cause re-import API, exporting JSON. This looks all good. Throttling API Express. I can have a domain name as well, or that we can see later. Looks good for the API gateway part. Does not exactly match the expected constant API gateway. Where did I mention the constant API gateway? No, this is not the way. Neither the ARN of the account or the role. No. This is the permission that Lambda allows to the API gateway, right? But I need the S3 as well, S3 as well to provide that specific too. Lambda, oh yeah, it says clearly how it works. Lambda assumes an execution role. The role has permissions to S3. AWS injects temporary credentials at a runtime, no key, no rotation, no leaks. So the AWS injects the temporary credentials at runtime. So Lambda automatically assumes an execution role. So there is an execution role that has been created. The role has permissions to S3. So for this execution rule, how to do Lambda to have an execution role which has the permissions to S3? Do I need to add this execution role in S3 bucket policy, or or Lambda policy, or somewhere else? This is confusing, is very common. You are asking a right question. Let's lock mental model properly. Remember this forever. Lambda assumes an IAM execution role. That role has permission, correct? You do not add Lambda to S3. You give Lambda roles permissions to S3. Okay. You give the Lambda role permissions to S3. That means in S3 I need to give the Lambda role permissions. Step by step how Lambda get S3 access. Hmm. Create IAM role for Lambda execution role. This role be assumed by Lambda, have S3 permission, trust policy. This goes on IAM role, not S3. This goes on the IAM role, not on S3. And okay. So there is an execution role which this Lambda has. Uh, this Lambda has an execution role. This is the role name. Let me quickly go to this role, and then IAM role, not user role, roles. You see, this is the one. Okay, now I'm good. So here in this execution role that has been created for the Lambda, I need to check it has access to S3. right? It was as simple as that. Add permission, create policy, attach policy, or create inline policy. I can create the inline policy or policy. So I need to attach this policy. Trust the policy. Correct. I need to attach let me check what exactly it has previously. AWS Lambda Execution Role. It only has for the CloudWatch. It only has allowed for the CloudWatch, right? Can I add here? No, I can't do so. I'm attaching the policy. AWS S3 full access. I've attached the I have attached this execution role, Express Lambda, S3, S3 access now. Let me refresh. Let me refresh. Policy successfully attached to the role. So this express simulate. What is simulate? Okay, I don't want to get into this. So AWS S3 has the full access now. This Lambda. Why can't I see that? Let me refresh this. It says allow resources S3. It should also say that guy you have started allowing it to S3 as well. Allow log stream, create log group, log stream, put log events, view document. Ah, here it is. Here it is. So now it has the access to S3. That means this guy has the access to S3. That's what I assume now. Now let me re-trigger it from the local of my front end to this backend and see whether this is working. This flow is working, right? Quickly going back. Quickly going back to my front end application. Restart it. Allow this time. I'll open my logs. Which logs? Not the API gateway, the CloudWatch logs. 014648. Okay, I'll quickly keep it here. Still the same error, access key ID issue. US East one. The access key ID your provider does not exist in your record. Region US East one. Request ID is this request. This execution role has the required S3 object, but looks like in my code I have not written it right, because in my code the server.js it is still taking from. Okay, can I open from VS Code? Okay, so I'm trying to open it from my VS Code. It is trying to download the required functions and whatnot locally. Let's see. Wow. Can I just say wow for a second? Okay, this is so cool. I can just. Okay, I have opened it here locally. I don't know if I can deploy from here as well, or if I save it, does it save? Let's see. What I'm trying to think here is when it goes to server.js, at this point of time, it still asks the secret access key ID and this is where it is trying to configure for. I have not written the code such that it takes from the right ARN, right? That's what I can think right now. Hmm. Okay, let me quickly chat GPT this. Working code on the tab on my server.js. On my server.js. Oops. Okay, I think it has taken server.js line 1617. Instead of using access key ID and secret access key, can I replace can I replace replace that with Lambda execution role and ensure this this Lambda service has all the access in order to fetch files from S3 in the same. So it is going on the look at the code focused on selected line. Yes, 100% yes. And not and you and not only you can replace it, you should. Okay, yeah. What you're thinking is correct, AWS way. Let's map this directly to your code and Terraform so it clicks immediately. That's good. Yeah, exactly. Currently, what you have now is this secret key ID and the secret access key, which is static credentials, manual rotations would be needed, high blast radius if leaked. Correct approach is Lambda Execution Role, which is where I was trying to head to. Lambda assumes the IAM execution role. Role has the permission of S3, blah blah blah, zero key. I agree. So delete this credential configuration completely. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Done. I have an option to deploy. That's really cool. Oops, it gone. I don't know. I don't know how to deploy again, but it was a good. I'll figure that out. What do you do in your Node.js code? Deleted that with this, or even nothing, right? Or honestly, you can even remove the AWS config, or honestly, you can remove the AWS config entirely if the region is already set in Lambda. ठीक है. AWS SDK will automatically use the execution rule. What to do? You already have this in my role. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay, maybe I need to redeploy it because this is from. Let me go back to my actual VS Code where I have locally this, right? Server.js. Let me remove this. Guys, over here, I'll comment it. Okay, and then it says that I already have the Terraform AWS IAM role lambda role.arn. You already have this reference code. Attach the permissions to that role. How do I do that? Attach the permissions to that role. Your lambda needs S3 list bucket, S3 get object, compare face. Yeah, exactly. But give me the Terraform code for that. How to resolve this? Lambda permissions lives in IAM role, not in the code, not in the environment variable, not in the S3 config. This is was the key learning, I would say, from last so many minutes. So lambda permissions live in IAM role, right? The permission lives in the execution role, not in the code I was trying to debug, not in the environment variables where I have created those secret access key IDs and all, not in the S3 configs as well. I was trying to see in the S3 if I can go and do that. So this was the key learning for me. Like, okay, really happy that I have learned it in a hard way, but okay. If you want next, I can fix the Terraform IAM role fully. Yeah, please fix. Hey, don't auto apply. Just tell me what. If you auto apply, I will not understand. It says that it will auto apply the code once it fix it. Wow, no. Rather let me do it. In the Lambda Terraform, it is asking me to add IAM role policy. IAM role policy. IAM role policy. Let me click apply. Yeah. So it had added the IAM role policy for the Lambda to in order to first in order so that Lambda has the required assume rules. Then for the Lambda to access the log streams and the CloudWatch logs, basic logs, and this part, the S3 part. The API gateway is there, Express is there. Yep, yep, yep. Looks good to me. This was this was this. To file has been updated. I need to delete this zip and follow the previous steps which I did, if I remember them, which I don't. So I'll use the back key command. I think it was one was to zip it, something related to zip. That I zip that. Terraform is already initialized. This command that I zip this. Have deleted the zip and reinitiated the zip because the code has been changed. Again, not it should be done majorly via CD and not a clean approach. Just to start with, later I would also try to Terraform. Init was there, upgrade was there, Terraform plan duplicate. Oh, okay, there is a duplicate one. AWS IAM role. There is a duplicate resource. AWS IAM role configuration. definitely there is on Lambda Terraform line 1. This guy over here, there is a Lambda rule, right? The resource names must be unique. So it is saying that this resource name is not unique. Where do you have exactly the same one, by the way? It's AWS IAM role, Lambda role, AWS IAM policy, Lambda S3 access, basic logs. It's written Lambda function, Express, AWS Lambda permission. Okay, Lambda Terraform. Terraform found two resources with the same name. Yeah, but not in the same file, but in the lambda.terraform. Okay. Provider.terraform, no. Here you have, hmm, here it is. Is this the same code? Is this, there is im.terraform, there is lambda.terraform. The role, express lambda role, 2017 allow, lambda, so this is not needed. This is not needed because it has already been provided. I was just trying to check in the same file. It was actually there in the different file. The IAM role policy. Okay, I'll quickly put my learning somewhere. Okay, not needed. Okay, let me reinitiate the plan, Terraform plan. Hmm, the plan looks good. I've added for the S3 the policy. Yep. After the plan, the next step is Terraform plan, Terraform apply, right? trying to redeploy. I'll quickly keep this back here. Did it fail? It failed at AWS Lambda function express. Updating the Lambda function, operation error, Lambda update function code, HTTP error response 413, API error request, too large expectation request must be smaller than what? In Lambda Terraform, line number 42. Open in revealing finder. It says that this Lambda file is too huge. Hmm. Maybe I should have zipped it after fixing that error. Looks that to me. Let me do that. Let me rezip it. Let me see the Terraform plan. Error in function call. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Zip the file first. Because it is expecting to have a file name called express lambda zip. Now reinitiate the Terraform plan. Apparently it is good. Try to apply it again. Let's see the error. Yes, go ahead. Mhm. No, the terminal. I don't think it has the integrated terminal part. Okay. Okay. Calm down. It is saying that the classic Lambda gotcha, nothing wrong with the Terraform on your code. You simply hit on AWS payload limit. Um, Typical cause node module is used. The real reason this happens with Express is node module. It is asking me to zip it and put it inside S3 rather than doing this ugly approach. Very good. Reduce the zip size. Okay. It is asking me to ignore. I can use a shortcut now rather than going to S3 by zipping in this way, or I can use the npx bundle, ES bundle, to make it like very lean deployment. But right now I want a quick fix. I don't want to go in other tangents, right? So what I'll do is I'll ignore certain files and try to zip it. So I'm trying to zip the complete project into express lambda dot zip, and then I'm trying to ignore the git file, the node modules dot cache file, the test file, the emd file. Let's see. If I'm facing the zip issue, I don't know why yesterday I did not face this, but in case if I'm facing this issue, I need to think about other approach to really deploy this. So let me use Terraform plan again. As it says, nothing wrong with my Terraform code. Apply. If not, I can think about the S3 deployment, deploy to S3. Yeah, I think I'm still facing that same issue. The limit is trying to exceed. I don't know why the node modules has. I did not do anything either. It is asking me to upload it to S3, upload the zip to S3, enter manually or via Terraform. I don't think there is something called neither in server.js, sorry, neither in provider.tf, lambda.tf, im.tf. So yeah, I can create um let's say deploy code to S3, deploy code S to S3 dot terraform, copy this. So I'm doing my Terraform rather than manually copy pasting it. Update the Lambda resource, replace the file name via S3. Okay, Express API ARN Express role is AWS IAM role hyphen lambda role.arm S3 bucket. Okay, instead of this thing, I'll give the bucket name and the key. So instead of the file name, which I used to do, now I've just created this deploy code s3.terraform where it will bundle it into express hyphen lambda hyphen zip. I can now delete this and then it will pick it from the bucket. Okay, let's go. Terraform plan. Let's see if it passes. reference to declared resource. Do I need to add it in the same? Let me add it in. Why to create a separate? I'll just delete reference to undeclared resource. I got it. I got it. It says the undeclared resource was the zip file. Let me zip it. Let me zip it. Let me zip via cache. Sorry, let me zip by ignoring certain things. Certain things, as in the cache of the node modules, the README files, and so on and so forth, that are unnecessary. Then, when I run the Terraform plan, it should push this zip file which is created now, Express Lambda zip to S3, and then from there it picks, right? Like that's the whole idea. Do I need to have it in a separate file? A managed resource AWS S3 bucket and Lambda artifact has not declared in the root module. Okay, for now, I'll add it in the same file. I'll delete this. Let's say Terraform plan. The same thing. I thought it was, I need to declare that file, but no. It is related to S3 bucket.lambda artifact. A managed resource Lambda has not been declared in the root module. Reference to the undeclared resource. Reference to undeclared resource in the root module. Maybe I'll quickly see where I'm going wrong. Look at the code. Perfect. This error is actually a good sign. It means Terraform is now doing what exactly it should. You have referenced an S3 bucket that simply doesn't exist yet in your configuration. The missing piece is create the S3 bucket. Mm. Okay, that is it. This satisfy. I need to create a S3 bucket. The bucket name should be AWS underscore S3 underscore bucket dot lambda artifact dot bucket. At this ones usually near to the top of the lambda terraform or in s3 dot terraform. There is no s3 dot terraform. Hmm. So it is, because there is no S3 bucket, I need to create the S3 bucket. That's what it means. Let me try to plan this out again. I need to declare the project variable project name, the environment, and the yeah project name. That's a good point. I can't just have that. I don't have variables dot tf right now. I'll just write an ugly code to deploy all my variables over here itself. Mm, where is my Terraform? Tf where's I did not add the missing declaration of the variables lambda.terraform. Yep, it was the US East one. Reference image prefix is this. Timeout. 1 second. I remember that was deployed in the Lambda under the Terraform. You see, here it was there. Maybe I'll quickly take this as my base. And then what the ChatGPT said. US East one broad, great. Environment project name is captured image backend. Lambda timeout 15, 512, log retention 7 days, reference image stages. Yeah, okay. Okay, let me add variables.tf. VARIABLES dot terraform, variables.terraform. Remove it. I think there will be a duplication in Lambda. I've already added this. Now you plan it. I miss the variables. Yes, I've deleted it. Great, great. There are some deprecations, but I'll see that later. Think there is a zip file, there is a Terraform plan. Maybe I'll do it again. I'll remove this zip, rezip it. Replan it, and finally apply it. Yes, it should create an S3, new S3 bucket, deploy this code from there, and re-reference that code from that into the Lambda function, right? Like that was the whole process which I did now. Because it was exceeding the payload limit when I was trying to just take the whole express lambda.zip file, which was quite huge. It was failing. This is not a ideal approach, mm, or recommended approach. But I'm trying to show another approach, the one of the other, let's say, dirty approaches as well to deploy it. Ideally, we should have the lambda as lean as possible, right? Like that's the whole concept. The lean lambdas are the whole concept. Looks good. I think it is trying to create the S3 object, creating. Yeah, man, do it. Instead of me sitting and creating a S3 object, deploying from there and all, it is. I'm just using Terraform in order to create the S3 object, deploy it. If you remember the whole, it still says that updating Lambda function code error HTTPS code 400. Are you serious? Let me see. It is asking me to go by ES build approach. This is what I was trying to think, that rather than going into this zip way of doing it, it is already asking me that go with the ES build. I think this is a good fix. I don't want to. There is another way of lambda layering, only if unavoidable. No, I don't want to go to lambda layer. I would like to go in, either I can do now, I can do a fix here where I can pawn the node module. That means in node module I can pawn whatever is not needed, and I can rezip it to see if it helps, right? Um, okay, and then again I can rezip it. I'll remove this, delete this, rezip the Express Lambda zip, and try to redeploy. If even this doesn't work, I'll go with the actual approach which I was trying to think about with ES builds, right? I was thinking to go with ES builds as well, and it says that that's an industry standard that I have to go with ES builds. But I want to try this just for the sake of trying it. Okay, I've omitted it. Terraform init, Terraform plan. Sorry, Terraform plan not init. I need to plan, then apply. Plan, apply, plan, apply, apply. Let me see if the zip is still more than 260, more than 250 MB. Unzipped Lambda code set should not exceed more than 250 MB. Huh? That's what is happening. The mine was around whatever this is, 260 MB ish, maybe. And it needs to be 250 MB. That was the whole issue. Okay, I think it has applied it. I could have done this approach as well, but for now, living at the edge and trying to see things still work. It was 1 hour ago, by the way, the previous deployed one. Let me see if it has, the last modified one has come. It still said 2 hours ago. Do you have my changed server.js? No, it still has the access key ID. I have commented the code. So last modified 2 hours ago. Maybe it is taking the time to build. Let me quickly go to cloud formation. Let me see if something is running here. No, this is 2024. It still says 2 hours ago. Mm, Let me quickly go back and check my S3. Uh, that did create. Was there any bucket created? Yeah, here is that bucket which I've pushed 8:42, 10 minutes back. It should have my code. Yep, express/express zip. So it is referencing this code from that, I assume. It should not. Let me do Terraform, destroy the existing. Destroy, yeah. Yes, destroy, please. This has been destroyed. Deleting my zip file. Applying the zip. It has been destroyed now, by the way. I can't have that express. It has been destroyed. I'll reinitiate and Terraform plan. Terraform apply. Yes. The whole idea was that in my IAM execution role of the Lambda, I wanted S3 access, right? So from there, the rabbit hole started. Yes. Okay. It has added the four new resources. I just deleted the resource and then re-added. I don't know why it was not reflecting the code. So now it should see 19 seconds ago. Now it should have the latest code where I've commented it, just two lines, which I could have done here. But no, I wanted to do in this way. I would expect a commented accept. Okay, I think it is just the lambda.js. Okay, since it is just the lambda.js from the zip and now it is the case, it should also, I should also have a new S3 bucket. Let me go to buckets. There should be two buckets. Yeah. Hmm. What next? Okay, let me check whether the health endpoint works still. Um, Postman. The URL of the API gateway. Since I have redeployed it, it would be changed obviously. Good. It says okay. Threshold. The same goes with the verify endpoint. Hit. No image provided. Good. Lock should be there as well. More interested with the permissions part, right? That's where this all started. The execution role permission. I wanted to ensure that Express Lambda role, it has this basic S3 access. This is where I was trying to debug and got into this, and then the execution role needs to have the access to S3, which is wrong again. I can edit here. By the way, it should be your image bucket name. Wow, I did not even add the bucket name, which was S3 Tejas. Can I redeploy it, please? I want to do it clean. Terraform, bucket name, the ARN, right? ARN AWS. Yeah, your image bucket name. Now this is good. Sorry, but I need to redeploy. one changed the role, the IAM role access. So now, where did it go? It should not be your image, rather it should be actual bucket name. Let me reload. Yeah. Instead of me clicking edit and doing there in the AWS console GUI, rather I thought I'll do it from the local via Terraform and then push it or publish it. Okay. Postman, the health check still works. Locally, I don't know where it is stuck. Okay, locally I need to first. I'm redoing the same. No, this is the Express. Where is my front end? This is no more true now. Let me close this. Where is my front end? Okay, the front end has been closed for some reason. Backend, front end. Clear ls. Yep. Code no. npm run start. So again, just to refresh, I am in my front end local application, right? I'm in my front end local application, and this has been deployed. The backend is deployed. There was the communication error because my IAM execution role of my Node.js of my Lambda was not having the access to S3, and this was something which I was trying to debug from last 1.5 2 hours, and this has been resolved. Let's say it has been resolved, or I'm trying to resolve this. The only way I can confirm is that I can't just try with Postman hitting this backend. Rather, I will try it from my local front end where I'll give the URL of this backend API by providing the image and so on and so forth, and then it's validate and says that whether it is valid or not. That's where I'm trying to look. So let's quickly jump. Um, I want to open the code as well. I don't know. Is it still the here? I don't know how many times I've turned on this. So going back to my JS file. So the API endpoint is this. Since I've redeployed it, okay. I think it was changed. Yep, it was changed. Let me restart the server React app. Okay. I'm happy with this error rather than the 500, the access key ID error, right? Okay. Missing required key, missing required key, bucket and params. Missing required key, bucket and params. Express API, the 329 logs. The bucket was undefined. Going back to my backend code. So firstly, it has come inside the server.js, the verify endpoint. The get reference name, the bucket. It says the bucket name was not defined. Does it mean that it is not able to pick um, the environmental variables from the process.env file? Looks so. I'll do a quick fix. I'll add the environment variable here. This should be good. Okay, re-hit it. Wow, so it was the environment variable. You are not Tejas. Face does not match Tejas. I don't know why it says capture again, maybe. Okay, it still say it doesn't verify me as Tejas. Weird. But okay, at least the backend code works. I'm happy with that. Face does not match. I can look this later. Why exactly? But let me quickly go into the logs, just out of curiosity. The bucket name. It picked the bucket name. Ideally, this is not the right way. It should pick the environment variables which have given in .env file, and it should be available there. But I'll come that I'll check that later. So you see, this was the exact issue which I was trying to debug, right? Once it got the bucket name, it had it was able to fetch um, my Lambda was able to fetch. So just to give you guys what I was trying to do from then, or to recap it, my Lambda with my IAM execution role, it was trying to fetch to S3 the deployed version of this. It was trying to go to S3 and fetch the relevant images and do the recognition. So that was missing, and that it identified, it fetched the images and it did the comparison, found three reference images, comparison with comparison phase, no identified policy was. Can you? I think I have got the issue why it failed the comparison, because it says is not authorized to perform. So again, the IAM role, the whole IAM role, which I have allowed it to S3, I also need to allow it to recognition. The package which I'm trying to use from um, from the SDK, AWS SDK, right? I'm trying to use this recognition. I need to provide the access to the recognition as well for my IAM execution role. IAM execution role of Lambda, like to be very, very detailed. And that's the reason why it says is not authorized to perform recognition compare phase, because no identity based policy allowed. So again, going back to my IAM execution here, I also need to have something called basic logs, Lambda basic execution, S3, which was the major debugging where I was doing. I need to add also for the recognition. I can quickly add here, but no, I would not do that. I'll use via Terraform. Quickly, I'll say working tab, Lambda Terraform. Can you provide the Terraform code to provide the access for AWS for AWS for recognition, AWS recognition for my Lambda execution role. Yep, since you use the Lambda code, exactly. If you want a full recognition access, not recommended for debugging. Yeah, I need exactly this access. So I'm adding IAM role policy. Ideally, this should be in the IAM part, but it's okay. IAM role policy, Lambda recognition access. I don't think I've added this. This is the first time. Allow, compare phase, detect phase, search phase by image, index, and resource star. Again, it says that don't use star, not recommended, rather be very specific with the resource, but it's okay. For time being, it's okay. It's okay as in, since I'm doing a POC. Okay, cool. My favorite for the whole freaking time, I'm using my Terraform. Please plan it. There should be one added. That is what I expect. Terraform apply. Exactly. One added and one to change. Yep. It has changed it. The recognition. Okay. Hmm. Okay. This looks good. Now, heading back to my front end React app. The bucket. I should have fixed that. Okay. Not sure why is it not picking. I'll fix this as well. In the matter of fact, I'll add this. I'll add this. Save. Edit. Restart. Cheers. Yes, yes. It went ahead and validated it. Why am I opening my IM stack? Sorry, my cloud watch, cloud formation stack. Um, I just want to quickly watch the logs rolling for the same. Where is my cloud watch? Yo, this guy over here. You see, it got the images, it did the reference, the recognition, and yeah, all look good. Things looks good, right? The whole time for this much of time I was just trying to debug from. Now you see how it goes, right? Like how a typical web development goes. It's majorly I was using the AI to integrate the systems. I know there are couple of things, it is not the industry standard. I need to rectify that, refactor it, make it. I need to add the S3 buckets, so on and so forth. But end of the day, the whole task was to ensure that my backend Node.js server service functionality, which has been deployed on Lambda, now without using the local identity token because it is deployed on AWS, it is going to S3, able to ping pong that, fetch the relevant images, do the recognition comparison. Even that was disabled, the permissions were not there, so even that it got it. And then it was doing able to do the comparison, and all this trigger of the whole process happened via front end. But this front end was local yet, this was on still the local server, on the local host 3001. But in the local host itself, I just ensured the backend API endpoint I'm trying to use, so that the deployed one, not the localhost 3000 of the backend, but rather the actual deployed backend. And then I was triggering the whole flow, the whole flow which is happening here. I would like to conclude this video. First, I thought I will deploy the front end, but you understand that the major integration was backend, and it is working fine. This can be done in the next steps, in the next video. But overall, I'm happy that I was able to debug live in front of you, live, using the understanding the concept, learning the concept on fly, and then doing it. Thank you, guys.